We've kept them long enough without providing any lunch, but I hope the water is working. We were having a conversation just before going back on air, just in terms of the special vote wrapping up, and Prof, you were saying that it's important to watch the turnout, and you were thinking that it's important because, and we'll bring in Mr. Tselane later to say how he feels differently about that.
I thought, if people make arrangements for special voting and do not show up, well, it's still early now. It's not even 12 o'clock. Who knows? There are late
They've got until 5 to go.
Yeah, late starters in those areas. But it's something important to watch because that's part of turnout. I mean, old people are quite hooked up into the system because they depend a lot on government. Pensioners, child grants, and this and that. These are people who are always listening to the news.
Part of the 17 million grant beneficiaries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would have thought that they would be quite enthusiastic because they have a stake in the system. This thing of having a stake in the system is quite important in determining whether or not people are active participants. So
do you think it sways their vote in terms of which government has given them better grants as opposed to another government? Not really.
Well, the ANC has been pushing that propaganda for a while, saying if they vote out the ANC, then they would lose their grants. In the last election, 2016 elections, for instance, the ANC was saying the same propaganda and people stayed at home and they never lost their grants. So I'm not sure if that propaganda is really working. But the point for me is that maybe one is making too much out of it, but I would have expected them to be a lot more enthusiastic.
Mr. Tselane, you disagree with that sentiment?
Yeah, no, I do disagree because I think people who have already applied for special vote, they are already a captured audience in a sense that out of their own, they decided they want to cast.
They think very hard about the benefits, though.
No. I'm saying you cannot apply to cast a special vote and not want to take opportunity or a platform to vote.
Yeah.
But there are also other variables that come in here. The first variable is that remember that people that he is referring to are people who've got to be visited in their homes or in old age homes by the officials of the IEC. So if the officials of the IEC do not manage to reach those people for one reason or another, it could actually attribute to the fact that those people do not actually participate in an election. So I don't think we should really make a mountain out of the turnout of the special votes. As I'm saying, that's already a captured audience because they willingly applied to participate, so they really want to participate in the process.
Post-election, are they given enough participation platforms to acknowledge that you have contributed to the way the situation is?
No. The biggest difficulty with the electoral system in South Africa is that there is no mechanism to recall those individuals who you have actually elected. So once you have elected a person, you've got to remain for the next 5 years with that person, even if that person does things that are so irregular that you feel that whatever they stand for is at variance with what you actually voted for. It's a problem in the system, and then I think hopefully one day we'll find a mechanism to be able to deal with it.
Gentlemen, as it happens with television, there's never enough time, so I'm going to have to let you go. But just quickly, looking forward to tomorrow, national governance, provincial governance, what can we look forward to in terms of what the citizens will be going out to do tomorrow, Prof?
The early indications would be the queues, the length of the queues. Let's hope that the weather is good. If the weather is good, then there will be no reason for people not to show up. And if the queues are still slim or short by 12-1, something like that, then you start worrying, especially when you compare different areas, because in South Africa these days you can still tell who votes where in terms of parties. So that would be an early sign to watch for. But an exciting day. People should take advantage of it. After all, you can't complain if you don't vote.
Some analysts have said an ANC-EFF relationship is worth watching in terms of the way forward. Your thoughts?
Well, it's possible that the ANC might not get a majority in some places. You might have a continuation of coalition taken up at a provincial level. anything can happen, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Dr. Tselane, your final thoughts?
Well, an operation of this nature obviously will test the systems of the IEC to the limit, and then hopefully those systems will be able to hold in and be able to deliver what the South African people expect. There is an aspect that has been mentioned that a person can actually vote anywhere in these elections, and it is true. You can use a provision or instrument in law, it's called Section 24A. But the difficulty and the challenge that the Commission could face would be if the scanner or the zip does not work, because remember that when you go to certain voting stations, you don't have a voter's roll of all the people.
If it changes, it has to be electronic,
Yeah, but I'm saying that, those are some of the systems that they've got to really try to attend to.
Thank you so much for spending the last few hours with us. Professor Ndletyana from the UJ, Professor at Politics and Executive Chair at the Institute of Election Management Services Africa, Dr. Terry Tselane. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to...